Captain Elias Varn adjusted his uniform and glanced at the massive view screen that stretched across the front of the shuttle. Beyond the reinforced glass, the surface of Lyra's homeworld gleamed like a gem. Soft green plains gave way to towering crystalline spires, reflecting the twin suns in a kaleidoscope of colors. Elias had seen pictures before, but nothing prepared him for the scale and elegance of the planet in person. "Ready for your first official meeting with the Zorathi royal family?" asked Lieutenant Mayers, his assistant and longtime friend. Elias exhaled, trying to steady the nervous excitement in his chest. "As ready as I'll ever be. I just hope I don't say something stupid." "Don't worry, they've heard worse from diplomats across the galaxy. Just remember to follow their cues." And Elias had a knack for doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. The shuttle descended through a sky painted in oranges and blues. Below, a landing platform carved from translucent crystal sparkled like liquid sunlight. As the shuttle touched down with a soft hum, Elias straightened once more and stepped onto the platform. The air was crisp and carried a faint metallic scent, unfamiliar but not unpleasant. Waiting for him were several Zorathi officials. Their skin shimmered faintly under the suns, patterns of light shifting across their forms in ways that were almost hypnotic. But it was Lyra who drew Elia's attention the most. She stood tall and poised, her exoskeletal patterns glowing softly in blues and golds. Her eyes, dark and intelligent, met his with a steady gaze that made him feel both scrutinized and welcomed at the same time. "Captain Varn," she said, her voice smooth and melodic. "Welcome to Zorathis Prime. I am Lyra, daughter of High Regent Arales. Your world, it's incredible." The Zorathi were not only elegant. Their physiology was a living artwork, with light shifting across their bodies in intricate, ever-changing sequences. He had read about it, but seeing it in person was entirely different. "Your patterns, they're remarkable," Elias said, meaning to compliment her intelligence and mastery over her own body's bioluminescence. He paused, realizing too late that it might not sound as innocent as he intended. Lyra froze, her head tilting slightly. Elias noticed the tiniest flicker of surprise cross her face. "Oh no," he muttered under his breath, realizing the potential for misunderstanding. "That did not come out right. You humans speak without thinking, do you not? I will be more careful. It powers our cities and protects our planet from atmospheric disturbances. It is delicate work. Precision and understanding are required, not only of the structure but also of the forces it channels. We take pride in what we create. Humans, too, I am told, value ingenuity. The willingness to act, to take risks, to innovate even when the outcome is uncertain. It is not something all civilizations possess. If done correctly, you will see the lattice respond in kind." Without thinking, he muttered, "It's almost like it has its own mind like you, Princess, so complex, so precise." Then, to his relief, she spoke, not with anger but with curiosity. "You speak what you observe. It is unusual. Most visitors speak of function, efficiency, or design. You spoke of resemblance. Perhaps it is a human tendency to connect the familiar with the unfamiliar." "I was just thinking about the patterns, their complexity." The rest of the demonstration proceeded smoothly. Elias carefully adjusted the energy flows, marveling at how the lattice responded. Lyra watched him with quiet interest, occasionally nodding as he succeeded in stabilizing particularly tricky sequences. After the demonstration, they walked through the corridors of the palace, and Elias began to understand the depth of Zorathi culture. Every movement, every gesture had meaning. He realized that his human instincts, curiosity, observation, and honesty could serve him well if tempered with caution. At one point, Lyra paused and gestured toward a balcony overlooking the twin suns. "You humans often speak without hesitation, yet you act with determination. It is intriguing. Tell me, Captain, do you always speak what you think? Words may falter, but deeds endure." And he knew deep down that the slip of his words, the unfiltered thought about her patterns, would not be remembered as a mistake, but as the moment that set everything into motion. For Elias, this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and the challenges ahead were many. But here on Zorathis Prime, he had already taken the first step toward proving humanity's ingenuity, courage, and resilience. And Lyra? She was watching him carefully, patterns shifting in ways he could not yet understand, a quiet acknowledgement that humans were different. Different, yes, but perhaps in the right way exactly what the galaxy needed. The morning light on Zorathis Prime spilled across the crystalline city, making the spires gleam like towers of liquid glass. Captain Elias Varn woke to the soft hum of the palace's energy lattice, a constant reminder of how alive this alien world was. He rubbed his eyes, remembering yesterday's events, the slip of his words about Princess Lyra's patterns, the brief shock on her face, and the relief when she had allowed his honesty. Elias rose and dressed carefully in his standard uniform. Today, he was scheduled for the first official tour of the planet. He was nervous. It wasn't just a tour. Lyra had invited him personally, meaning he would be under scrutiny, but he also felt a strange excitement. Humans were not always welcome so closely into alien culture, and this was a rare opportunity. As he walked down the long hallway toward the meeting chamber, his assistant, Lieutenant Mayers, fell in step beside him. "Feeling ready for round 2 with Princess Lyra?" Mayers asked with a grin. Elias shook his head. "I just hope I don't say anything that makes her freeze again. I barely recovered yesterday." "Then I need to show them I can do more than talk." He tried not to stare too long at her patterns this time, focusing instead on his own composure. Lyra's eyes glimmered and she gestured toward the balcony. "Today, you will accompany me on a tour of our sacred gardens. It is not merely a walk. These gardens reflect our history, our rituals, and our understanding of balance. Observe carefully, and you will learn much." Streams of liquid light meandered between the plants, and small energy constructs floated like butterflies in the air. The beauty was unlike anything on Earth or any human colony he had visited. Lyra led him to a central platform where the garden's main patterns converged. Each plant, each lattice, represents an aspect of our culture. It is not enough to admire their beauty. One must understand their role in maintaining harmony. Sometimes the process is as important as the outcome. Lyra pointed out various plants, explaining how each contributed to the garden's energy balance. Elias tried to absorb everything, taking careful notes in his mind. He noticed that even small errors, stepping in the wrong place, touching a plant carelessly, could disrupt the flow of energy. At one point, he paused to admire a towering flora whose leaves reflected the sunlight in vibrant colors. "It's incredible," he said, thinking aloud, "how everything works together. The energy, the light, the plants, it's almost like a living puzzle. Few notice the delicate relationships that make it function." The Zarathi had a way of moving gracefully through the garden, their steps timed perfectly with the energy flows. He stumbled once, nearly touching a glowing vine. Lyra's gaze flicked toward him, and he froze, expecting reprimand. Instead, she said quietly, "Do not fear mistakes. Learning requires action, and action requires courage." Unlike humans, who often valued success over process, the Zarathi emphasized understanding through experience, not just observation. They reached a section of the garden that contained a series of floating platforms, each one representing a stage in Zarathi history. To cross safely, one had to step in the correct order, guided by intuition and knowledge of their culture. Lyra gestured for Elias to try. "Step carefully, Captain. Observe patterns and trust your instincts." With deliberate movements, he stepped forward. The platforms responded, glowing brighter under his weight. Halfway across, one platform dimmed unexpectedly. He froze, unsure of whether to backtrack or proceed. "Trust yourself," Lyra said from the side, her voice calm but firm. He took a deep breath, focusing on the patterns, and stepped forward. The platform stabilized. Relief and exhilaration washed over him as he reached the other side. Lyra's patterns shimmered in what he interpreted as approval. "Well done, Captain Elias. You relied on observation, judgment, and courage. This is more important than speed." Next, Lyra led him to a large pond filled with liquid light constructs. "Here we test perception and understanding," she said. "Each construct represents a concept from our history. You must interact with them to maintain balance." Encouraged, he adjusted a second construct and then a third. As he worked, he began to notice something extraordinary. The constructs responded not just to touch, but to intention. His thoughtfulness, his focus, even his humility seemed to influence the way they moved. Lyra watched silently, then said, "You humans have a gift. Your minds are direct and adaptable. You act even when understanding is incomplete. This can be an advantage." Lyra gestured for Elias to step inside. "This is the culmination of today's lessons," she said. "You will create a sequence using the energy flows. It must reflect harmony, balance, and your understanding of what you have seen. It is not simple, but I believe you can do it." But he remembered the lessons. Observe carefully, act with courage, trust intuition. He reached out and began to manipulate the flows. At first, the patterns wavered, almost rejecting his input. He adjusted, thinking carefully, feeling the energy respond beneath his hands. Slowly, the chaos resolved into harmony. The glowing patterns stabilized, reflecting a sequence that even Lyra had to pause to admire. "You have done more than succeed," she said softly. "You have demonstrated understanding, patience, and adaptability. These are traits humans possess in ways unique to your kind. I see why your species survives among the stars." He had not only passed a test, he had proven something larger, that humans could contribute in ways even the Zarathi could not anticipate. Lyra's patterns shifted into a complex dance of light. "Captain Elias, yesterday you worried that your words might offend. Today, your actions have inspired respect. Remember this, mistakes may happen, but integrity and effort can turn them into strengths. These qualities are remarkable." And in that moment, he realized something important. Humanity's strength was not in perfection, but in the ability to learn, adapt, and act with sincerity, even in worlds far from their own. Lyra's patterns shifted again, slower this time, a gentle acknowledgement. Elias understood the subtle message. Humans might be impulsive, even clumsy, but when combined with curiosity and courage, they could achieve the extraordinary. He glanced at her, a small smile on his lips. "I hope I can continue to live up to your expectations." The path ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges and potential missteps. But for the first time, he was confident that his humanity, his ability to think, act, and persevere, was a true strength in this alien world. As they walked back toward the palace, Elias felt a spark of anticipation. He knew that tomorrow would bring new tests, new lessons, and new opportunities to prove that humans were not only survivors, but innovators, capable of earning respect even among the most sophisticated alien civilizations. And as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting the city in shades of crystal fire, Elias realized something else. Sometimes mistakes were just the first step toward greatness. The next morning, the palace of Zaratha's Prime was bathed in soft golden light. Captain Elias Varn felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Yesterday's garden tour had been more challenging than he had imagined, but it had also been more rewarding. He had learned the subtlety of Zarathi culture, their emphasis on balance, and the importance of thoughtful action. Yet today promised something different. Lyra had summoned him to the council hall, a place where the Zarathi discussed matters of history, science, and diplomacy. Elias had been told he might witness, or even participate in, ceremonial challenges that tested understanding, perception, and intellect. The thought made his chest tighten with anticipation. Lieutenant Mayers, who accompanied him, noticed his tense expression. "Relax, Elias. Yesterday you impressed her. Today will be about showing the humans can think outside the box." The council hall was immense, with walls of crystal that refracted sunlight into hundreds of shifting beams. At its center floated a holographic projection of the planet itself, overlaid with intricate networks of energy flows. Several Zarathi elders stood around it, their patterns glowing with intensity as they observed the projection. Lyra approached him, her movements fluid and precise. "Captain Elias, the council wishes to observe human thought applied to Zarathi knowledge. You will participate in a demonstration that has puzzled our greatest scholars for decades. Our best minds have struggled for years. You, a human with no prior experience, will attempt what many have failed to achieve. Trust your instincts as well as your reasoning. You are not expected to succeed, but your perspective may reveal solutions that Zarathi minds overlook." The energy nodes pulsed with light, each connected by threads of power that formed complex, shifting patterns. At first, he felt overwhelmed. The movement seemed random, almost chaotic. "Focus on the flow," Lyra said softly. "Patterns exist even in what seems disorderly. Find the connections." He extended his hands toward the projection, manipulating the energy threads cautiously. The nodes shifted slightly, then stabilized, then shifted again in ways that tested his patience. Sweat dampened his brow, but he focused, breaking the problem into smaller parts. Minutes passed, and Elias began to notice an unusual pattern. Some nodes seemed to respond not only to logic, but to intention. His careful, deliberate actions appeared to influence nodes that had resisted Zarathi methods. "Interesting," Lyra murmured. "Observe how the human perceives connections we have overlooked." At first, some failed, snapping back into their original positions. But with careful adjustment, the nodes began to stabilize. A low hum filled the hall as the energy projection responded to his actions. Threads of light pulsed harmoniously, cascading across the planet map in ways the elders had not predicted. Elia's heart raced. He realized that what he was seeing was more than a solution. It was a completely new way of understanding the energy lattice. Lyra watched intently, her patterns glowing brighter as the projection harmonized. The Zarathi elders murmured among themselves, astonished at the humans' progress. "Captain Elias," one elder said, voice tinged with disbelief, "this approach, it should not be possible. No Zarathi mind has succeeded in stabilizing all nodes in this sequence. You see possibilities where we see boundaries. You have succeeded where our best minds have failed. Captain Elias, this is unprecedented. You have not merely solved a problem, you have revealed a method that may transform how we understand our energy systems. How did you conceive this approach?" "I made mistakes, adjusted, and learned as I went." Now he had achieved something the Zarathi had considered impossible. Lyra stepped closer, her glowing patterns shifting in subtle, intricate dances. "Captain Elias, yesterday your words startled me. Today your actions inspire admiration. You see, humans' directness, your honesty, your willingness to act. These are qualities that can change outcomes where caution alone fails." "You are being too generous, Princess," he said, though he smiled. "No," she replied. "We do not exaggerate your approach. Your perspective is unlike any we have observed. It is enlightening." He emphasized observation, trial and error, and the importance of intent. Slowly, the Zarathi began to see the brilliance in human thinking, the ability to act even with incomplete knowledge, to adapt quickly, and to connect ideas in unconventional ways. After the council session, Lyra led Elias to a quiet terrace overlooking the city. The twin suns were high, casting sparkling reflections across the crystal spires. Elias sank onto a bench, exhausted but exhilarated. "You have done more than prove human skill," Lyra said. "You have shown us the value of seeing the universe through a different lens. Our civilization benefits from your perspective. This is truly extraordinary. These qualities, your humanity, have turned a potential mistake into an achievement none of us expected." As they watched the city below, Elias realized that this was only the beginning. Humans were not the strongest or the fastest species, but they possessed qualities that could bridge cultures, solve problems, and earn respect across the galaxy. Lyra's voice broke his thoughts. "Captain Elias, there is one more lesson today. The way you approach the council problem, directness combined with respect, can be applied beyond energy systems. It is a principle that governs all interactions, all negotiations, all cooperation. You have demonstrated a method that may benefit not only our people but yours as well. Every step, every observation, every adjustment, combined with action." Today, his actions had not only impressed them but had opened the door to collaboration, respect, and understanding. The twin suns shone brightly above, reflecting off the crystal city. Elias knew the road ahead would be filled with challenges, puzzles, and tests. But for now, he allowed himself to revel in the moment. The unbelievable twist that his honest, human approach had solved what Zarathi minds had struggled with for decades. Lyra's patterns glimmered in acknowledgement, a silent but profound message. Humans might stumble with words, but their actions, guided by curiosity, courage, and integrity, could achieve what others thought impossible. Elias exhaled and leaned back. He had crossed a threshold, not just in skill, but in understanding. Today had proven something fundamental. Humanity's strength was not perfection, but the ability to observe, adapt, and act with intention, even in worlds far beyond their own. And in the quiet of the terrace, he felt a deep connection to this alien civilization. A connection born not of instinct or expectation, but of mutual respect, understanding, and the unspoken acknowledgement that humans could, indeed, rise to challenges that others considered insurmountable. The city below hummed softly, alive with energy, light, and possibility. Elias smiled. Tomorrow would bring new tests, but for today he had achieved the extraordinary. And sometimes, that was all a human needed to make a lasting impression. The following day, the palace of Zaratha's prime buzzed with activity. The twin suns cast golden light across the crystal spires, illuminating corridors where energy flows pulsed softly, reflecting the rhythm of the city. Captain Elias Varn moved through the halls with a mixture of anticipation and determination. Yesterday's achievement in the council hall had earned him recognition, but today was different. Today, he would be put to the ultimate test. He met Lyra in the central atrium, where the Zarathi princess waited with her usual composed grace. Her patterns shimmered gently, a soft ripple of gold and blue light that reflected the early sunlight. Elias felt a thrill of excitement at the sight. "Captain Elias," Lyra said, her voice calm but carrying authority, "there is a situation that requires immediate attention. A disturbance has been detected in the northern sector. It appears that one of our energy conduits has become unstable. Our scientists have attempted to stabilize it, but the disturbance resists conventional methods. We need alternative approaches, action combined with insight." "I'll do whatever I can." The city's energy flows were delicate, and missteps could be catastrophic. As they arrived, Elias saw the conduit, a vast crystalline structure, its surfaces glowing with unstable pulses of energy. Sparks of light leapt erratically along the lattice, and a low hum filled the chamber, vibrating through the floor. Zarathi engineers hovered around the structure, adjusting panels and recalibrating controls, but their attempts had little effect. Lyra stepped forward, her patterns shifting rhythmically. "The conduit responds to intention as much as calculation. Observe and then act with focus. Observation first, understanding second, and action with intention." He stepped closer to the conduit, feeling the vibrations beneath his hands. He studied the patterns of instability, noting which sections fluctuated more violently and which areas remained relatively stable. "Captain," one of the engineers said, "if you adjust the central nodes incorrectly, the entire northern sector could collapse. Proceed with caution." "Proceed." The sparks of erratic light diminished, the hum softened, and the energy flow became more coherent. Elias smiled, realizing that by approaching the problem differently, focusing on relationships and interactions rather than rigid calculations, he was making progress. Lyra watched closely, her patterns flickering brighter with each successful adjustment. "Well done, Captain Elias. You are applying human ingenuity to a challenge we have struggled with for years. Continue." After several tense minutes, the conduit's energy flows stabilized completely. The hum of the structure softened into a steady, harmonious vibration, and the surrounding engineers stepped back in astonishment. "You have done it," Lyra said, her patterns shimmering with what Elias interpreted as pride. "The conduit is stable. Your perspective, human observation and adaptation, has succeeded where conventional methods failed. You have demonstrated the strength of your species." One elder, her patterns glowing faintly, said, "This method, it is unlike any we have employed. Perhaps humans possess a unique way of perceiving systems, one that complements our understanding. Your actions may transform Zarathi engineering and problem-solving." The lattice responded to cooperation, not just individual effort. Perhaps that is what makes it succeed. It hummed steadily, a perfect balance of energy and structure. He realized that this was more than a technical victory. It was a symbol of what humans could achieve when they trusted their instincts and acted with courage. Lyra led him to a balcony overlooking the northern sector. The view was breathtaking, crystalline spires stretching toward the horizon, streams of energy flowing like rivers of light, and the twin suns casting golden reflections across the city. "You have done more than stabilize a conduit," Lyra said softly. "You have shown the Council and our people that humans are capable of innovation, insight, and bravery. Your actions today have strengthened the bond between our species." "Thank you, Princess Lyra," he said. "I only hope I can continue to prove myself." He had stumbled, worried, and faced a challenge that seemed impossible. Yet through careful observation, adaptation, and action, he had achieved something extraordinary. He realized that humanity's strength was not in brute force or raw speed, but in ingenuity, resilience, and collaboration. These qualities, combined with courage and integrity, allowed humans to overcome obstacles that others deemed insurmountable. Lyra spoke again, breaking his thoughts. "Captain Elias, there is one final lesson today. Observe closely, act wisely, and trust your instincts. Even in the most complex or dangerous situations, humans have the capacity to find solutions through ingenuity and determination." Engineers and assistants paused to watch Elias, their expressions a mix of admiration and curiosity. He realized that in just a few days he had earned a level of respect that most diplomats spent years striving for. Lyra paused and looked at him, her patterns glowing softly. "Captain, humans often underestimate themselves. You have shown that mistakes are not failures but opportunities." opportunities to learn, adapt, and demonstrate the strength of your kind. He had faced challenges that seemed impossible, adapted to an alien culture, and proven that human ingenuity could make a difference in ways no one expected. Lyra's gaze remained on him, patterns shifting in ways that conveyed acknowledgement and respect. Elias understood without words. Humans were not only survivors and explorers, but collaborators, innovators, and problem solvers. And as the city hummed around them, alive with energy and light, Elias realized that this was just the beginning. There would be more challenges, more puzzles, and more opportunities to demonstrate the unique strengths of humanity. He took a deep breath, feeling the exhilaration of success and the weight of responsibility. Humanity had made an impression, and he had played a part in proving that humans could rise to challenges, even in worlds far from their own. The night settled over Zaratha's prime, casting the city in soft shades of violet and gold. Elias looked at Lyra and felt a quiet determination. Tomorrow would bring new tests, but tonight he allowed himself a moment of pride. He had learned that human qualities, curiosity, courage, adaptability, and honesty, could achieve the extraordinary. And in that realization he felt more prepared than ever for the adventures yet to come. The morning light of Zaratha's prime spilled over the crystalline city, turning every spire, every tower into a prism of shimmering gold and blue. Captain Elias Varn woke with a sense of purpose, unlike anything he had felt on previous missions. The past few days had been intense, filled with challenges that tested his observation, courage, and adaptability. But they had also been a revelation. Humans could make a difference, even in ways alien minds had never imagined. Elias dressed quickly and made his way to the central atrium. Lyra was waiting for him, as composed as ever. Her patterns shimmered softly in the morning sun, flowing in elegant waves of light. "Captain Elias," she said, her tone calm but deliberate, "the Council has called for a demonstration today. They wish to see the application of your methods in a larger-scale scenario. This will require coordination, observation, and quick thinking. Are you prepared?" The engineers had been working around the clock, adjusting other sections of the city's energy network. But today's challenge was unprecedented. A sudden surge had appeared in the Western energy grid, threatening to destabilize the city's entire network. When Elias arrived, he saw the surge manifesting as glowing arcs of energy, leaping unpredictably across the crystalline lattice. Sparks of light flickered erratically, accompanied by a low hum that resonated through the floor. Engineers hovered anxiously around the area, trying to contain the surge, but the system resisted conventional control. Lyra stepped forward. "This is the ultimate test, Captain. Our best minds have attempted to stabilize this surge for weeks without success. You will apply your human approach, observation, intuition, and decisive action." He stepped forward, examining the energy lattice. The arcs of light danced unpredictably, yet he could see subtle patterns beneath the chaos. Certain nodes responded faster than others, some resisted adjustment, and some seemed to anticipate the changes he attempted. "Notice the relationships," Lyra said softly. "Even in instability, there is order." "Find it." Elias realized that brute force or simple calculation would not work. He had to trust his human intuition, the ability to improvise, to act decisively when knowledge was incomplete. Lyra watched closely, her patterns shifting faster with anticipation. "Your actions, they are different. You perceive connections that we have overlooked." "Continue." One elder whispered, "This is impossible," yet the system responds as if he understands it innately. Finally, with a careful adjustment of the central nodes, the energy surge dissipated completely. The lattice pulsed gently, a stable, harmonious flow filling the city. The engineers exhaled collectively, and a wave of astonished applause swept through the chamber. Lyra stepped forward, patterns glowing in radiant colors. "Captain Elias, you have done what none of us thought possible. You have not only stabilized the surge, but you have demonstrated a method that may forever change how we manage energy systems." Humans often underestimate their own abilities. You have shown that honesty, courage, and thoughtful action can achieve extraordinary results, even among civilizations far more advanced than your own. He explained simply, "Observe carefully, adjust with intent, remain flexible, and learn from every action." One elder said, "This method, it is transformative. Your actions prove that humans, though seemingly inexperienced, possess qualities that can accomplish what even Zarathi experts cannot. Your species is remarkable." This was more than a technical victory. It was a proof of humanity's ability to rise to challenges with ingenuity, determination, and integrity. Lyra gestured for Elias to step with her onto the balcony overlooking the city. From there, the full scale of the energy network was visible. Crystalline towers stretched toward the sky, streams of controlled energy flowing gracefully through the city, reflecting the twin suns in a dazzling display. "You have done more than stabilize a network," Lyra said. "You have shown our people what humans are capable of. Your ingenuity, courage, and insight have earned the respect of the Zarathi Council and engineers alike. Captain Elias, your presence here has changed how we view humans. We see now that your species possesses an ability to solve problems in ways that are unexpected, yet highly effective. This is truly unbelievable. Humans and Zarathi alike have much to gain from collaboration, observation, and mutual respect. You have shown us that humans are capable of extraordinary accomplishments, not through force, but through ingenuity, integrity, and action guided by understanding." He realized that this achievement was symbolic of humanity itself. Humans were not the strongest or fastest, but they could adapt, innovate, and act with courage, traits that allowed them to succeed where others failed. Lyra spoke again, her voice calm yet filled with meaning. "Captain Elias, the story of your actions today will be remembered among the Zarathi as an example of human brilliance. Your approach, your methods, and your courage will inspire generations to come. That is what led you to success, not ego or expectation. Captain Elias, your presence has reminded us of something fundamental. Strength is not only measured in power, but in the ability to think, adapt, and act with purpose. Humans possess this in abundance." Elias realized that humans and Zarathi had formed a bond beyond diplomacy. It was a bond built on mutual respect, trust, and the recognition of each other's strengths. Lyra's patterns glimmered subtly in acknowledgement, a silent message that Elias understood. Humans were capable of incredible feats, sometimes in ways no one expected. His thoughts yesterday, the slip of words about her patterns, had led him here to a place where honesty, curiosity, and courage had been transformed into achievement and respect. Elias exhaled, a deep sense of fulfillment washing over him. The galaxy was vast, filled with challenges and unknown worlds, but humans were capable of rising to them. His species' qualities, adaptability, ingenuity, courage, and sincerity were not weaknesses, they were extraordinary strengths. Lyra spoke one last time, her voice calm and resonant. "Captain Elias, you have achieved what none of us believed possible. Today, humans and Zarathi have learned from each other. Today, humanity's presence in the galaxy is proven not by conquest, but by intelligence, courage, and collaboration. That is truly unbelievable. Then let's keep proving it one step at a time." And for the first time, he truly believed it. Humans were capable of the unbelievable.